letzte Granate und die letzte Bombe ihr Ziel erreicht, stürzen die todesmutigen Stoßtrupps der Infanterie und der Pioniere vor, um die Panzerwerke im Nahkampf zu überwältigen und zur Übergabe zu zwingen.
Welcome, Hearts of Iron fans. Today we're going to recreate the great encirclement battles of the Eastern Front. You just saw some clips from a German newsreel about the fighting on the Eastern Front. The German army was able to use their combined arms blitzkrieg tactics to deadly effect at the start of the invasion. Infantry, tanks, planes. The combat between the Germans and the Russians during World War II was unbelievably brutal. Exact casualty figures are still unknown, but perhaps 4 million German soldiers and 10 million Russian soldiers died in the fighting. One reason for the high number of Russian casualties was because of the effectiveness of the encirclement tactics the German army used, just as I am trying to do in the video now. I have almost encircled a large number of Russian troops, and I am using a massed tank army to create a breakthrough to close the pocket. During World War II, the German army captured more than 5 million Russian soldiers, and about half of those prisoners died in captivity from German mistreatment. To give a quick recap of Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union, the attack was launched in June of 1941. By winter, the German army had driven hundreds of miles into Russian territory to the gates of Moscow, where they were stopped and eventually pushed back. The Russian army was strong and created strong defensive lines to meet the Germans. But the Germans were able to mass their tanks, break through the Russian lines in a few key spots, and then encircle the Russian defenders. That largely explains the massive numbers of Russian prisoners and casualties during the first year of the war. If you're new to the mechanics of the game and are wondering how to set up lines, you really don't need to do anything special. If your army surrounds the enemy, your units will automatically surround the encircled enemy, and then will also maintain the main front line at the same time. I like to have my infantry maintain the lines automatically, and then manually control tank armies. Encirclement tactics are very effective in Hearts of Iron. Just like the German army did, you can devastate your enemies like this. In the game, units on defense retreat when their organization reaches 0. And then they retreat to another position to fight you again, and that continues until their country runs out of soldiers or weapons. Units are very resilient. Encircling entire sections of the enemy lines can allow you to wipe out massive numbers of enemy soldiers and massive amounts of equipment at little cost to yourself. Just be careful that you don't overextend your tanks, because then they could easily be surrounded and cut off in return.